Hi, it's me, INFP, and I went to therapy today, so we're going to be going through some therapy stuff. I first want to give you an update on two different things that have happened that are positive. I found out in the end that my headphones might be working. I'm going to test them tomorrow. But I let the headphones, the Bluetooth wasn't working. I let the battery die and then I turned it back on. And because the problem was I couldn't turn it off. So I turned it back on and then it seems to be working slightly the same way, except that the light is a little bit different. That signals if it's on or connected or not. But it seems to be working. So that is positive. And also another thing that is positive is that I told you guys about the problem that my ISFJ friend was having with his boss. My ISFJ friend wrote back to his boss that he did not feel that it was appropriate to be receiving such messages. And then his boss called him to a meeting at work, and actually at that meeting the boss apologized to my SFJ friend, and they decided to put it behind them, but that the boss said that he was sorry, he knew that this wasn't appropriate either. But you've got to wonder, either the boss has like terrible impulse control, or the boss is he realized afterwards that what he did was bad, or he was ready to go and then knew that he would backtrack as soon he got some kind of backlash. I don't know what it is, but I'm glad that my ISFJ friend feels much better about this, and that this issue was resolved pretty simply. It's not often that somebody will come and directly apologize, unfortunately. So I'm glad for these things. So I went to therapy today, and I must say he's good. Like, I didn't think, I must have like underestimated my new psychologist, because he seems like such a shy and like nerdy person. But the fact that he can sit there and listen to me blab for like 45 minutes and then accurately summarize what the point of my whole conversation was, that takes some skill, because my therapy sessions are kind of like my YouTube videos, where I basically ramble on and talk about 10,000 different tangents. And then maybe at the end I will come to some conclusion, but we're not sure, and that's kind of how it is. So he managed to like guide me to figure out what this whole conversation was about, and get to some pretty deep conclusions, because we at first we were really like on the wrong track, and then we kind of got onto other tracks. I've been talking a lot about relationships and how it's difficult for me to navigate. And then I was talking about how it's difficult for me to be fully self-sufficient, like independent. And I think that a lot of INFPs would consider themselves independent. and I would too, but I also have a problem with being dependent on other people. Like, we all are, we all need each other. I'm just saying that a lot of my self-image is based on what other people think of me and their expectations and such. And it really, you know, I have problems of like imposter syndrome and um, feelings of inferiority complex and all sorts of things. Uh, I really feel like I'm an incompetent person who's useless uh, in many cases. But some days I have like, I'm proud of myself and I love myself. And I find myself to be a kind and um, unique and authentic person. And so we were talking about like, okay, well, there are these two versions of yourself, but like, we want to become the best person that we can be. So we were circling around this thing about never really getting to the point, but it is about me having difficulty with being independent and growing up into an adult life, and not needing to ask anybody. I don't owe anybody an explanation for my decisions because I'm so undecisive, but that's because I don't believe in myself. And so I need to go to everybody and ask them, like including you guys on the channel. I go to you guys and like ask about what meal should I do for HelloFresh, what apartment should I choose? I talk myself around in circles, but in the end, it's my decision. And I can't ask, somebody else will not be able to answer what is best for me. In the end, I know what's best for myself. And it can be nice to get advice from people, but I need to learn how to do these things for myself. And it's very hard because I've been pretty sheltered in my when I was growing up, and my parents have really done most of the decisions for me, and it's hard for me to like decide to do something. And the problem is that often I'm not the one who's deciding when things are happening. For example, this move that I'm doing, it's not something that I chose, it's something that happened to me, kind of. And I want me to be the person making things happen rather than things happening to me. And it's just, it feels like, there are so many things I have to do and I'm pressured to do and I'm expected to do, but I have trouble with doing things I want to do. One of those things that I want to do is that I want to go on a trip on my own, and at the moment I want to go to Japan. If that doesn't pan out, I might go to Scotland. But I've never been on a trip by myself that wasn't like, going to visit a friend or going with a friend. It's never been that I've gone on my own to a place where I don't know the language, where everything is foreign, and where I can just have fun. It's not like a business trip or anything. And that I don't need to go, because I have this weird dependence on my parents, like this kind of enmeshment with my mom, and nothing I really talk to a therapist about, but these are my theories. And I feel the need to tell her everything that's going on in my life all the time. And I've stopped doing that these past years. But, I was kind of telling her a lot of things when actually, she didn't need to know these things. She doesn't need to know everything about my life. So slowly detaching myself from my parents, becoming my own self, doing what I want, what I think feels good, what I think would make me happy, rather than thinking about challenging myself in the ways that other people want me to challenge myself. I want to challenge myself in the way that that will make me grow, but for my own sake, So driving, though it would be important for me to learn to drive, is not something that I look forward to doing, and it's not like I get a lot of gratification instantly from it. While doing something fun that I have to plan and that I have to decide and that I have to do that is actually fulfilling, because I will get the results of it when I'm on the trip. So it's planning and taking the steps to do something fun. That is only for myself. That is like nobody else wants me to go to Japan, except like you guys want me to go to Japan, and I was like, yeah, but I was telling him about you guys, saying that, well, it's kind of like you're giving me, you're encouraging me to go to Japan. And he said, yes, but there's a difference between encouraging someone to do what they think is good and I think is right, and that's the person, me, says that would make them happy. And so there's a difference between that and and the opposite, or not opposite, but like something different, that is coercing somebody or forcing someone or manipulating someone. So you guys are like the wholesome encouragement that I need. I have other friends who are this wholesome encouragement, and sometimes my parents can be that wholesome encouragement, but at the moment you guys are the people who are encouraging me to go to Japan. The other people in my life, they would rather encourage me to work on my driving because I need to drive a car. But maybe I don't need to drive a car. Like, I can do driving lessons like continuously. I don't need to do it like I need my license now. I also have been forced into this moving thing, which is not fun for me, even though it is a challenge. It is not a challenge that I initiated, that I made the decision, I did have to make the decision in the end, and I'm proud of myself for that. But I need to be the person who initiates and makes the decisions, and then if the decision gives me problems, like I make a mistake, it's also important for me to make mistakes, and not be protected by other people about it, so that I know in the future how I want to go about things, so that I can make decisions easier in the future, and so that I don't get as much anxiety about everything all the time. So it's exposure therapy, but like exposure therapy can be about things that you really want to do and that are fun, because I have difficulty like making fun things happen in my life because of anxiety and depression and such. So then I had a discussion with him about, but like, okay, so you're telling me to work, like try to figure out the things that I can handle and like prove to myself that I can handle a lot of things to grow my self-confidence. But at the same time, I'm going through an autism assessment in like a month. I'm gonna have my first appointment, where in autism assessments, it's kind of like, well, what are your limitations? You know, what are your difficulties in life? What can't you handle? And I said, it's kind of contradictory that you have to talk about what you can't handle and then what you can handle. And like, what am I supposed to do? And he said, no, these things are just the same, two sides of the same coin, you could say. That in order to be able to safely explore the things that you can handle, you need to be able to like know what things you have difficulties with and what things you need accommodations for. And so it's not contradictory, it actually will help me to go through the exploratory process of figuring out what I can handle, what I should take the risks of life in. Because like, okay, maybe I have a trouble with like the sounds and the sensory input of an airplane, for example. But if I know this and I take my headphones with me on the trip, then I have accommodated for it. And at the same time, I have exposed myself to going on an airplane far away. And like book the tickets and done all this stuff to realize my dreams. I think that there's a lot of, in INFPs, there's a lot of this like, we're worried about making an impact on things. We're worried about making decisions. I know that people with NISE are much more into like, you carve your own path through life. It's the SE, you are the icebreaker and like, going towards in a trajectory, and that you make an impact on things and you take action to live the life that you want to live. You are what you do, not what you say. That kind of NISE, FET, all the functions that INFPs don't have. I think that I have a tendency to be passive and to understand the world as things happening to me rather than that me happening to the world, I can't change that. Like, I would always feel like my perception of the world will always kind of be like that. And it's not bad to think that way. But when it is limiting the things that you are like brave enough to do, that's where it can really limit the happiness in your life and such. And I want to be able to do things and try new things to be able to do them and explore the world. I want to live the life that I want to live. So there are other things that I want to do that are kind of challenges for me. I've applied to the same race, the running race that I did last year, with my colleagues. So I will have to get back into running. I've also applied, I've applied to the apartment, so I signed a contract. And the apartment allows pets, so maybe in the future I could get a pet. I mean, these are things that are way into the future. We're just taking one thing at a time. At the moment, there are certain things that I have to do, but then there are things that I want to do and work on. And that is, I want to be able to participate in that race, and I want to take a trip outside. I had to describe, sorry, Pete, I had to tell my psychologist that you were a guy from the internet. But a guy on the internet I trust, which also not, he was like, okay. Because he knows I don't have easy time trusting people. But so I said that Pete seems like a chill guy, not somebody who's like super neurotic about having a plan, like other members of my family are. Also, it seems like I will have to be doing a lot of that planning myself, which is good because I've gone on trips where the other person made all of the plans. And I never learned how to make the plans because of that. It was an INTP that I traveled to Denmark with, and she wanted to do all the plans. And the plans were very chill, but because, you know, we're NPs, so we kind of went to explore. But she still wanted to, she found it exciting. I can't say that I love the logistics part of it, but I do like looking at like different sites and ideas and such. But it's easy for me to just be like dreaming about it and then like never actually doing it because my TE. So I'm trying. I really want this to work out, and if it doesn't work out, it will be fine. But I think that, well, the psychologist was good and he had a point, and he somehow managed to summarize all of the different things I was talking about. I mean, I was talking about my headphones, I was talking about my old friendships, I was talking about my parents, about my family, I was talking about my YouTube channel, I was talking about Japan and cats and housing and Scotland and everything. And he managed to like sort it through and be like, is there any way that we have gone astray? You know, is there anything that out of all of the things that you want to focus on that you want to that you think is the core of all of this? And it reminded me of like when we were talking about emergence, like the essence of things, as Solisium said. What's the essence of the problem? And the essence is about learning to live an independent life for myself, and in that way, like being happy with the freedom that gives. And all of the other things are all coupled to that. All of these like tangents that I went on, it's all coupled to that. I want freedom, and I want to be able to feel like I can rely on myself, that I am confident enough to take steps forward in my life. And because I was also talking about how I felt like that I'm often in this weird state where people think that I'm younger than I actually am, and people want to take care of me. But I don't know if that's true or if that's just my perception of myself. Um, but I'm an adult now, you know, I'm 28. And it's time to like become the person that I want to be, you know? I can't be a child forever. It's not like I really wanted to be a child forever, but I just like it felt like that's what I was. I can't like just take on that role of the passive person that things are happening to. I need to take several steps, and go in the direction that I want. So yeah, that's what I found this really inspiring, this session. I feel like this was really eye-opening, and I feel so grateful that I found a therapist that is actually like, he doesn't need to get me, but he can simplify all of the problems into a thing and yet still get what I'm saying on a deep level. As much as I loved my latest therapist, the one at the health, the one that was coupled to my company, healthcare, it was another vibe, that's all. But he wasn't as succinct, you know. And I feel like, okay, so things are making sense, because I was confused as to why, you know, there are things I'm capable of and things I'm not capable of, and it's like my capabilities are not other people's capabilities. Like, I can become a doctor and I can do all these things, and yet in many ways I feel like I'm on the same function level as my 18-year-old brother, you know, and well, he's now 19. But we have 9 years between us, and it feels like I'm growing much slower than everybody else, and that is very frustrating, you know. I'm learning how to do things now that many teenagers are learning, you know, and that is part of disability. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to be free and self-confident in doing things, not things that I think I can handle, things that I will be able to handle, you know. And even if I do not handle them, I can learn from those experiences and actually live a full life. So yeah, I don't know. I just got really emotional talking about that. But it's, I mean, I know it's just words, but I felt in a way that we caught the problem. Like, and Bufo Parglanis, she deleted her comment, but I think she summarized it well, as in that it's not BPD, it's avoidance and autism. And basically for me, it's a little bit more on the dependent side of things and not the avoidance side. But there is a lot of avoidance there, obviously, and autism. And so the combination of those two things, it explains a lot. And the depression and the anxiety, that's not what we are trying to get at, the core, the root, the essence of the problem. The thing that we want to get at is this self-confidence issues that are rooted in this feeling of not being capable of being independent, of not being capable, and at the same time that there are reasons why I feel incapable, but I just need accommodations for those things. That doesn't mean I'm totally incapable of things. So yeah, also it did highlight a bit that I do have a lot of black and white thinking, which is pretty much an autistic trait. I think that I'm pretty nuanced, but sometimes I get really set on things, are like somebody hates me or somebody loves me, or I get into these black and white states of thinking, and it's not because of like me demonizing people or whatever, or having a difficulty with emotions. The difficulty is with comprehending things in the world, and that is where autism comes in. So yeah, I have one appointment with him in a month, and the week after that I have the autism assessment. So I think that things will start to unravel and work. I really do hope that the trip to Japan will work. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. But in that case, I need to find something else that I really want to do that will make me happy. And not just always be doing whatever other people expect from me, whatever I think that the people around in my life tell me to do in my head. Just what do I want? What do I value? It's weird to think that an INFP wouldn't know what they value, but sometimes I forget. I forget that, there are things that I value that I find in myself, and that these things give me the strength to do things that other people might not think me capable of. And why should I listen to them when I can listen to me? Or the other way around, they can think that I'm capable of all these things that I am not actually capable of, or capable of at the expense of something else. So we shouldn't be listening to what other people think of us, only what we ourselves think of ourselves, and try to work on that self-confidence by trying new things, experimenting with life, and taking some risks sometimes. So yeah, this was a long video, but I really feel like the psychologist touched on the nerve, like the whole body is hurting, but there's that pressure point, and if you touch that pressure point, that acupuncture spot, then everything kind of is healed, if we go back to yoga. Okay, so have a great day, everybody.